factory. The gaskets are going to be better built. Everything's better about it.
Oh boy. Two things really quick, guys. Number one, watch the whole video. I am going to put a bunch of this to bed once and for all and educate a hell of a lot of people. Number two, I want everyone to know I'm not trying to pick on Detwiller Diesel. He just likes to say things that rub me the wrong way. I think he's probably a really good mechanic, and I see a lot of people that go to him that swear by him, and that all by itself says a lot about his workmanship. I don't have a problem with his workmanship. He has a clean shop. He looks like a good mechanic. He's just a little mixed up. So let's straighten him out. Okay, to the first part of the video there where you say the gaskets are going to be better, let's go ahead and address that real. First of all, we have to address where the hell does the OEM get their gaskets from? Well, again, they get them from Mahle and they get them from Federal-Mogul. But the story doesn't just stop there. Again, that's not Cat making them, but it's actually Dana that was making the gaskets for them. Dana and Fel-Pro. Now, the thing you need to know about Dana is it's Victor Reinz. And Mahle owned the rights to Victor Reinz. And so Mahle was the one selling them to the OEM. But it's actually Dana making them under the name Victor Reinz that Mahle had the rights to. So, and yeah, I'm talking about the same Dana that makes the bearings, all the Spicer stuff, right? So that's who's actually making the OEM gasket, giving them to Mahle, who's giving them to the OEM, and then your other people doing it for Federal-Mogul is Fel-Pro, right? So Fel-Pro's making them, giving them to Federal-Mogul, and Federal-Mogul's selling them to the OEM. Now, it gets even funnier than that, okay? Because these suppliers of these suppliers that supply OEM, actually, a mass majority of them were getting their gaskets from AFA. Because AFA at one time, they got their start back in the 80s as being the #1 gasket supplier in the entire United States. They have 4 factories that make gaskets. That's how they got their start. They were supplying, and to this day, they still supply quite a few OEM gaskets, but not directly to OEM. They supply them to Fel-Pro, they supply them to, Victor Reinz, and so on and so forth. So again, when you say OEM gaskets are better, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Let's dig a little deeper. Let's go into some of these other companies. Like, let's take PAI, for example. How did PAI get their start? Well, they didn't get their start making engine kits. They got their start making gears, right? And so I know you're a big OEM guy for clutches and transmissions and all that. Well, who's making the fucking gears for those guys? PAI. PAI got their entire start making gears for differentials and transmissions for the OEM. They were the OEM supplier for all the gears. They also were the OEM supplier for all the Mack gears. That's actually how they got their name and their fame, is because Macks are so demanding and their gear train is so heavy duty, and they supply all that. They still, to this fucking day, the majority of their business at PAI is not those in-frame kits that you may have a problem with. It's the gears that they're building for those transmissions and differentials that you love so much, and that all of the Mack guys love so much in their trucks. Well, what about Interstate McBee? How did Interstate McBee get their start? Well, Interstate McBee did not enter the field of medium duty type stuff, which for them, this is like a light duty engine. They entered the world into the oil and gas industry, into your stationary engines and power plants like C32s, 12-cylinder engines, massive stuff. Now, anybody that knows anything at all knows that if you can't build kits that are for stationary engines that last and last and last and last and last, the industry will immediately blacklist you. Not only is Interstate McBee not a blacklisted company, they have been able to expand into all of their industries as you see today. So it's impossible for them to have been a shitty company, not up to the OEM spec, if they got their start in the stationary world. And you can go today, they are the #1 supplier, still to this fucking day, for massive engine overhaul kits. What about our filters? I bet you're a diehard gotta use Cat filters guy. Cat doesn't make filters. Who makes their filters? Well, two companies I bet you probably wouldn't use. Baldwin and Donaldson. They make all the Cat filters. The mass majority of them are made by Donaldson, And a lot of the specialty ones are made by Baldwin. I think Baldwin used to make a lot more, but these days that's how the ratio goes. But, you know, what, are you gonna make your customer buy a $40 cat filter when you can buy a $9 high efficiency Baldwin filter built by the same motherfuckers? Right? Cat doesn't make any filters. So again, when you're talking about OEM, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. So if you want to single any aftermarket guys out, you're gonna have a really hard time singling out AFA, Interstate McBee, PAI. Those guys have been around for fucking ever. You know, you have some newcomers that are, you know, even those guys, I mean, like IPD, you know, they've been around. And you're gonna tell me they've never done anything outside of just making some overhaul kits and trying to hand them off? I don't believe that for a minute, right? Look at MaxiForce. MaxiForce is the #1 aftermarket supplier for everything light and medium duty, and they supply the OEM for quite a few things. John Deere, they are the OEM for John Deere. And look at all the guys that are diehard John Deere guys. That shit's made by MaxiForce. Again, when you say OEM, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Anyway, guys, I hope everybody learned something. You guys have a good night. Love you long time.